What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the best meta players in each position, but this time there is only 3 players in each one. So we're going for the lower tier, the mid tier, and the high tier. In terms of goalkeepers, we will go very quickly like I normally mention with these. There's not too much to it, to be honest. In terms of low tier, I've gone between like 10 and 20,000 coins. So there is always the arguments of plenty of other goalkeepers, but Donnarumma has always been a safe shout, great links, and just an overall very good goalkeeper at 6'5". Going up slightly to 52,000, Courtois again very similar, coming in at a very good height at 6'6", naturally been one of the best goalkeepers you've had over the previous years, so standard again with him, and more than likely these only just get cheaper and cheaper, so realistically we'll get a Courtois for 30 to 20,000 coins at some point, and then we move into kind of the higher tier of the icons, and Van der Sar, it's always been Van der Sar, highest priced goalkeeper you can physically get, and normally throughout the past 3 to 4 FIFAs, he has been the #1 choice in most people's teams. Now into the fullback roles. So we'll start off on the left side. We've got Theo Hernandez as one of the cheap options, which is crazy to think he's only 15,000 coins 2 months in. I don't quite know where the price budget was last year in 2 months in, but I felt like the fullbacks were definitely still a little bit more expensive. Could have been totally wrong. We look on the right hand side, we've got Kyle Walker at 33. Little bit more expensive, but I must admit, he is worth every penny that you can get. If you've got these two, you're absolutely sorted for fullbacks for quite some time, and that's just at the low budget. I don't even think you necessarily need to go any higher. It is just naturally that there is always players that are considered better and also have a bigger price budget. Into the mid, on the right hand side, we've got Dodo. I feel like he has now had his fully upgraded version. I really like him as a right back. We managed to get him out of the road to the knockout pack, one of them that we've had over the previous few weeks, but in terms of a right back, a little bit more there. I'd still probably go Walker, to be honest. Save yourself some coins, but he is definitely the next step up in terms of price, and if you wanted a cheeky dynamic. Across the side, we've got the PSG left back. I can't remember her name, actually. I cannot, for the life of me, I cannot pronounce that name. So I'm not even going to try. It's Sakina is the left back's name. 88 rated, does have a few versions if you wanted. You have just a normal inform and then also 11k on her gold, but we have got 306 4-star, very good pace and naturally a good one. I would have put Baka here, and I know the argument always will be, but that SBC does run out. If you watch this a week from now and you've not done her, then obviously there is no chance of you getting her. So make sure you do that if you've watched it from day one, because I do think that is the better SBC. Into the higher value then, we've got Carfu on the right. There is always arguments for Carlos Alberto, but for me, I like him as a centre-back. So I've gone with Carfu as the right back, 900,000 coins. Managed to use him as a loan for quite some games, and he's a decent right back. He's naturally going to give you that. And Ferland Mendy on the other side, still shocked that he's 85 rated, but still over 1 million coins. 4-star, 5-star, love his gold version, and naturally he just progresses every time he gets an upgrade. FC24 is here, and Sky Coach has all your needs covered. From squad battles, champs, qualifications, and even now draft boosting, there is a long list of services they do give, as well as coaching, and also the big one everybody wants in FC24 coins. This service is fast and reliable, and you will get your coins, your boosting services, or obviously coaching in a matter of hours. If you do want to get any of these, make sure you head over to skycoach.gg, go onto the website, and when you go to checkout, make sure that you are using the code JT11 at checkout for your 5% off your orders. And if you'd prefer to do this on mobile, check out the screen right now with the QR code for their mobile app. Now we've gone for the duo set in centre-backs. We've done the same for the strikers as well, as there is 2 positions. It's only right that we give you a pairing. In the bottom end, we've got so many options from Militao, Koyunde, Rudiger, Tomore. You've got endless amounts, but I've gone with the 2 that A, I see the most, and B, I have played with the most. Varane is so cheap, it is unreal. Yes, there is a lot of centre-backs to go, so these are not the only options. If you want to check out the best meta centre-backs on the channel, that is going to give you a more broader one, but these are specific choices of mine. We've got Arejo and Varane as the 2 bottom end, very cheap and very affordable. We go up one more, and I would say Virgil is a #1 priority. If you're buying any gold card with coins, Virgil is that #1. 140, and he will last your team for a long, long time. Even in the medium budget, I'd still class him as an absolute must. Blanc is next to him. This is the pairing that I see at the moment from everybody. Very cheap SBC that you can go and do. If you've already started him from like what, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago that we've had him, you should have had him done, or at least be very close to having him done with literal no cost whatsoever. But them two for me are an easy partnership that you can go for. Then we bump it up one more to a little bit more expensive of 700k for Lucio and 1.6 for Maldini. Naturally, we will see more and more players as we get Team of the Year, more promos, a new version of Maldini, a new version of Lucio. It will naturally go up. So if I do this video in a month or 2 months time, then we will see that as hopefully a better version across these two. But them two are two of the best centre backs you can get. But still, Virgil is the number one catalyst in this list. Now, bear with me with the midfield. So we've got 3 lines. It works out, don't worry. We have got a CDM, centre mid, and cam. These are the positions that they can play. I've gone with these as kind of the better ones and tried to pick the players from their position. So they should be a CDM on their base. And I know the argument for Nkunku, but I feel like as a cam in the low budget, he's probably one of the better ones. You could argue like the Bruno Fernandes, the Bernardo. You've got KDB, who's a bit more expensive at like 50, 60. But I think Nkunku, for the price that you get, is better than the rest as he has multiple variations he can go with. So if we start on the left-hand side, Tonali, great CDM for the price, does have them links. You could go with the Donnarumma link as well, just adds that different extra kind of variation. Unfortunately, not going to get any upgrades anytime soon, unless they give him out of performance, but I doubt they will. So a bottom standard right now. In the mid, we have Makalele. I kind of went between the two. I went for the cheaper option in Makalele rather than necessarily going for an Essien, which I think is about 50 to 60k more. And the argument you've got for someone like a Petit or a Rijkaard underneath them as well is very valid. But I really did like Makalele. He has got another version for the Centurions, but 100,000 coins more, I think. And I just don't think I need that. And then obvious top ones for CDM. You could argue if you go in for players that can play a CDM, we've got Matthias in there, 100%. But as a solid CDM, it's got to be a Yaya Toure, 100% of the time. In the centre mid role, Bellingham is going to be my shout, purely for the fact that in-game, so much better than the stats. We look at the stats and I'm like, it looks okay. Like, it doesn't look amazing. Like, you've got 70s still in there. Even at an 86, I feel like it should be higher. But in-game, way better performance. Going into the mid, honestly, there is a fair few options, but one that I have seen quite a lot, even in just her base gold version, Grace. Great centre mid, very much like a Bellingham. In-game, much, much better, and gives the links to any of the Liga and women team. You've got Diana, you've got the left-back Sakina, and then plenty of others that you could go forward. You also then have Hullet. I think he doesn't need much explaining. It was a toss-up between Hullet or obviously Matthias. In terms of a centre mid, who would I want? I think it'd always be Hullet, even though Matthias would definitely be up there. If I could get either of them, I'd be ecstatic, but Hullet is Hullet. He is absolutely nuts. We've already talked about Nkunku, but Socrates is going to be in that mid one. 4-star, 5-star, only recently used him. For the price that you can get him at, he most definitely is not a bad option, but the only thing wrong with him is the fact he can only play cam. So you would have to change a formation if you don't have that cam role already readily available for you. And then we go into the top. Zidane for me is number one. You can always argue Pele, but I always like Pele in a striking role, especially by the time I get Pele. I want him up front because it tends to be the 97, 98, 99 variation. It's very rare that I get the 94, 95. So realistically, Zidane is going to be my number one shout there. Love him in a cam. The 5-5 works perfectly. He is just an absolute monster going forward. Now into the wing then. So we've gone back to the basics. We have gone with the bog standard of Son, who is currently coming in at 20,000 coins, which is crazy cheap. We then have Dembele at 86 at 25,000 coins. Both of them do have other versions. Son obviously has his Trailblazer, an Inform, and the beautiful Player of the Month that is absolutely brilliant, but unfortunately that SBC has gone by now. Dembele, on the other hand, has got his Road to the Knockout as the most expensive, and then also an Inform that could definitely fit in this mid category. Because I want to make it a little bit more interesting, I don't want to just pick the same player for each version. I love Dembele, Son, Both of them incredible. Obviously, Son has that finesse shot as well, which is just beauts. Then also in the mid, we have Barnes, who this year, way better. If you've not used him yet, and you've got the coins to try and get him out, have a go. Because naturally this year, I think he's really in tune with what the meta is. He is just beautiful down that wing. He's quick. He's got a bit of a shot on him. He has got the technical dribbling playstyle plus, so it'd be interesting maybe in the future to have that changed, but I still think that would work to even to this point. Alwaran has always been fantastic, but I cannot wait to see an upgrade version of him, especially one with a playstyle plus, as that is kind of what's not necessarily stopping him, but stopping him from reaching that next level. And in the top end, we had a choice on the right wing, but Ronaldinho is easily that left wing. Again, you could argue between Son player of the month. You could go with a Rashford, Centurions, a Vinny at some point, but Ronaldinho is Ronaldinho. Whereas the other side, so we had the choice between Salah, Jarzinho Centurions, or Hansen Trailblazer. So personally for me, Jarzinho is put on one side for the moment because I like him, but he's not necessarily my favourite out of the three, so he would be the bottom. The argument between Hansen and Salah is the two. Both of them with a finesse shot plus, I'm pretty sure, or does Hansen have the power shot? I want to say Hansen has the finesse shot plus. If I'm right, she does, but the difference is, and yes, you can switch the wings if you really wanted to, she doesn't have the left foot as her favourite foot, and a 4-star weak foot. Salah, even though he does have a 3-star weak foot and one less skill, does have that left foot preference. So even though both of them would still be very efficient with it, Salah is always going to have that cut in on absolute lock. So for me, he is the number one there. And you might be thinking for the strikers, explain yourself. Why is there 3 at the top and everywhere else? So the bottom tier, I must admit, this time round, there isn't necessarily a huge amount of bottom tier players. There's players you can use. Osimhen, Leao, you could go with a Son at some point. You've got a Rashford can play striker. Haaland's relatively cheaper. And then you've got your really kind of your Depays, your Martinez's. They don't really fit what I'm personally trying to give you here. Griezmann, on the other hand, I've got him in the inform, but personally for me, he is that good. The finesse plus is perfect. The left stick is brilliant. He just naturally is a very good player for the cost. Diana is a pain in the rear. She is so quick. She can play the striker role as well. So I've gone with her as I've seen her more than any of the other bottom tier strikers. Nowadays, I'm starting to see the kind of mid tier where we're seeing the Govus, the Etos, the Zolas, the inform Haalands, maybe a cheeky Mbappe every now and then. But I'm seeing more mid than I am seeing bottom of bottom. Plus, there is evolutions as well that you could add to this. In the mid-tier, though, Griezmann's going in again at 482. I do like his, his Trailblazer with a Trivela playstyle plus, but I also love the Finesse Shot plus. That is number 1 in my list. We then have Govu, a couple of versions that you've got him from. Obviously, this is the triple threat, or you do have the bug standard hero, which I'd probably prefer, but in terms of the budget, Govu's triple threat is a nice one. Power Shot plus, always good, but Finesse is always going to be my number 1. Now, in terms of the top, I couldn't choose between them. That is why there's 3. We've got R9 at 9 million. We've got Ham at 5 million. And then we've also got Trailblazer and Mbappe at 4.3. Mbappe is due to have a player of the month, so that one would be there when that does come out, because naturally it's the one we can actually grind to get. But all 3 of them give you everything. Mbappe unfortunately doesn't have that 5.5 yet, but that is normally what they keep up their sleeve for FUT birthday. Whereas R9 and Ham both have that 5.5. The only argument you've got is Ham does have that playstyle plus of Power Shot. Both of them have the bog standard playstyle of Finesse, whereas R9 does kind of share that same one with a Gold Mbappe with having Quick Step plus. So all 3 of them are as equally cracked as ever. And that's going to be my list. Let me know how many players you've got in that list.